Now, the era of good feelings that developed during James Monroe's presidency in the aftermath of the War of 1812 um, was a time of a real sense of nationalism in America. America had survived the War of 1812 against a much larger, more powerful, wealthier empire against Britain. Indeed, some call it a Second American War for Independence. We'd even won a few really resounding military victories, including the Battle of New Orleans, but others as well. And many Americans really rallied together in support of an American nation, whereas many people had prior to this seen themselves first and foremost as citizens of their home states. Many people, such as our first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Jay, stepped down from what today would seem like very prestigious roles in the national government to take up roles in state government instead. Um, Now, don't get me wrong, there was still a lot of loyalty to one state, but there was a real sense of nationalism, of patriotism, of a sense of being an American. And so during this time, America would, for example, charter a new national bank, the second bank of the United States, a private institution, but one which the U.S. government was a major investor and which did print, among others, a stable paper currency. Because we had a real shortage of specie, of gold and silver in the United States. Likewise, a growing number of Americans came to favor the idea of federally sponsored internal improvements, what later generations would call public works or infrastructure. In particular, roads and canals to link together the different parts of the country, to promote national unity, internal travel, trade, commerce. So with many potential benefits, although with a greater potential expense, and thus perhaps a greater need for taxes. Still, many people were willing to accept higher tariffs to protect American industry for economic and patriotic reasons. Um, but there were still those who opposed higher tariffs for both economic and ideological reasons. There were those who worried about internal improvements. Some Easterners, especially in the Northeast, worried they would drain away their population and thus their influence in Congress if it was too easy for people to move west. Likewise, some people worried that it would be unfair that internal improvements would be built some places but not everywhere. You can't build a federal road through every county. So everyone's taxes would pay for things benefiting only some people. Some simply felt the U.S. government would become too powerful building national roads and would get in the way, say, of states' rights. Because it was largely felt the U.S. government had just a few roles, really an army to kill Indians, a navy to protect us from pirates, and a post office to deliver the mail, were the main functions of the government.